All right.
Shit. There's the intro.
That's the podcast.
What's up, everybody? We are 5 Minute Men, and this is the podcast where we solve the world's problems in 5 minutes. I'm Tyler, and I'm the quirky one.
I'm Hayden. I'm the strong one.
I'm not doing this.
He's Cutter, and he's the silent one.
He sucks.
He's such a he sucks. He's such a dick.
And he's
Alright.
the booty one.
He's moody.
My name is Alex Sachs, or Alex Max. Is that it? Did you ever watch that?
What is
No.
that?
This Is My Story. It's like a Nickelodeon show where this girl gets like this radioactive fluid spilled on her, and she has
You've
like
said-
ability to turn into mercury.
No.
Like the planet Mercury?
Yeah, just on a whim, she could just.
My name is Nut Sacks, and I have the ability to turn into mercury, not the metal, the
Just some Nickelodeon executive. Oh yeah, fucking do it.
Send it. Make it.
Green light. We want 3 seasons, along with that stupid sponge show.
Get Amanda Bynes on the phone.
Yeah, right.
We can't let this one flop.
Yeah.
I feel like Amanda was the one ripping the line, probably. That's what happened to her. Hey, she gave a mental health update on May 26th with a heart tattoo on her face and a diamond nose ring. So it's like,
You doing okay?
it doesn't look good. The outlook is grim.
So we got a lot of problems in a hat.
Can we add Amanda Bynes to that?
How do we solve Amanda Bynes?
5 minutes.
And we're going to randomly draw a problem and then take 5 minutes to create a solution.
Drum roll, please. It's upside down again. Carole Baskin, did she do it?
Carole Baskin, did she do it?
Loving it.
You know, it's been a while since we came up with these ideas, but in that meantime, I should have watched Tiger King. I haven't.
So you don't know any of the facts.
I have heard enough from everybody talking about it, so I know.
No, you don't. You think you do.
So how? Okay,
You know
so
what?
we're solving this. Like, we're not fixing it. We're like detectives right now. We have to solve the murder case.
Right.
Interesting.
Which might give you an edge, actually. You might have the
you
perfect amount of information.
So you're not biased at all. You didn't have to watch the documentary.
Right.
All right.
This is going to be a quick 5 minutes for me, boys.
Yep.
Set a timer for 5 minutes. Time is up.
Still going.
Pencils down.
No, I'm still going.
Everybody, pencils down.
I'm still going.
Hayden, this isn't the 5.5 minute man. I am not going first.
That means, I actually think that means that you have to go first.
Yeah.
No, I refuse to go first. I'm
The
absolutely
info
not.
that we would give you.
Okay. Did Carole Baskin kill her husband? How to solve a murder. Let's look at the facts. 1, she met her husband hitchhiking in Florida. Is that right?
Those are the facts.
I'm pretty. These are the facts. This is just what I've heard from the show. I've watched the first 2 episodes. The street that he picked her up on is known for prostitution. So that means she was a prostitute. She was looking for a way out of her life. She was messed up. She didn't like the life that she was living. So she needed a way out. He had money. So she infiltrated his life. Obviously, he had money to spare. If you're buying prostitutes, you got some extra dough. So she infiltrated his life and planned to kill him all along. She knew what she was doing. This was premeditated. Another fact, prostitutes aren't trustworthy. Don't believe me? How many prostitutes do you know?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Because you don't trust them. Yeah, it's rhetorical.
No.
Because you can't trust them. So I think that's motive. She has something to hide, and she is willing to do really fucked up, depraved things for money. All right, come at me.
I mean, those are the facts. I can't really, I can't really argue with them.
I mean,
is any of that true?
Is any of that true?
Some of it is true, yes.
Some of it's true.
Some of it is up to speculation.
Okay.
The prostitution thing is up to speculation, but all signs kind of point to yes on that.
Okay. I think I did pretty well without seeing the show.
I'm just letting you marinate in it. I'm trying to make you feel like you. Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean,
I do feel like I'm wrong. I don't know. Like people say that she fed him to the tigers.
Mm-hmm. Famously, Joe Exotic claims that she fed him to the tigers.
Okay.
So rest your case.
That solved.
I think you solved it.
Mm-hmm.
I can go, but there's a visual component to mine that I was working on.
Picture?
No. Well, no.
I'm just
gonna hold on. Give me a moment.
Did you make art?
He's like making pictures of DNA samples in Photoshop.
Yeah, just casual.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
Sorry, I remember this.
Just gonna go ahead and share my screen with the class.
You made a PowerPoint presentation.
Just a quick little slideshow.
Here's how I know. Well, first of all, it's in PowerPoint, so that's 5 points to you. You've already got me somewhat.
That's why I needed like half a more minute.
I believe anything that's on PowerPoint.
Really
Exactly.
Oh my god.
All right. So Carole Baskin killed her husband. Here's how I know. Because I know she did it. This guy, Lewis. Lewis was the old husband. What? I don't even know this guy's name. He doesn't even count.
Facts are solid, man.
It doesn't matter though, because he's fucking gross. And the current husband is nasty, and I hate him. Why wouldn't she? Like, I don't get why she would settle for this. You know, I'm very confused as to her mental state in general. The only thing that I'm seeing like that correlates between these two husbands is that they both have hella money, which is a big reason why I think that she killed her first husband, because he was a millionaire. So like, duh, he was a millionaire. Like, cash in. Why not? You know, get that fucking money. So anyway, current husband's gross, and that makes me question her sanity. And also, she was in it for the money, so I know she did it. That's my first point. I can see it in her terrible eyes. Look at how gross. Ew. Yuck. Those are murderer eyes, no doubt. And there was a restraining order. I can't with that fucking
Of course.
Of course. Okay, so the original husband filed a restraining order against Carole. And this was like, while this isn't even to mention the divorce that he wanted from Carole. He also put in a restraining order against her. And then conveniently disappears. Like, that's super shady. And also, I don't blame him for putting in a restraining order, because she's terrible. And of course you'd want to get away from her. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's the only thing I was able to make in 5 minutes, but that was my entire presentation. Look, he's all teeth. Why does he have a purple phone in a holster?
Suspicious.
Have you seen the wedding photos?
Oh, yes.
Does she have him on a leash?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe.
Hey, some people are into that.
She is absolutely into that.
Yeah. Power, control, all that.
Let's read the comments on this one. He loves her like his life depended on it. I'm not sure this man can feel love. I feel like in order to do this on your wedding day, you're empty inside. Every time I heard the phrase, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens," I wanted to put her under the septic tank, just like her former husband.
Oh, man.
I noticed
Dr.
that,
Gray
and for the
fan.
rest of the documentary, I just could not look at him and not think what a legitimate cuck every time he was on
Dude,
camera.
he is. Like, he takes the
Absolutely.
bullwhip, just loves it.
Yeah.
So that
big
Dr.
cuck
Gray fan
energy.
says there's a 150% chance Howard Baskin leaves his socks on for intercourse.
100%.
150%.
Yeah. So anyway, in all seriousness, I do believe she killed her husband. I don't understand her in general. I don't understand. There's so many like outlier questions that are surrounding her situation that make me immediately not trust her legitimacy. Right? Her husband mysteriously disappears after he got a restraining order and wanted to divorce her. Pretty shady. And she was obviously only in it for the money, for the cats. So I don't see any reason why she wouldn't have killed him from her crazy ass perspective.
I mean, he had a PowerPoint.
Which automatically makes me right.
Pretty solid PowerPoint.
I can expand it. If you'd like, I can work on my thesis.
Yeah, can you keep working on it and email it to me?
We can do a Carole Baskin part 2. All in all, yeah, she fucking killed her husband, period, end of story.
Was she investigated by the police
so.
even?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All 5 of the county cops showed up and looked around.
He ain't here.
Something.
Must have gone away. Must have moved.
Wish you would check the tiger shit. I ain't touching tiger shit. Fuck that.
I envisioned like they cut to video of like 2 cops talking, and in the background there's like a tiger eating a human body.
Probably.
I don't know. I can't find him. I've searched high and low for this guy.
All right. So despite all this extraordinarily detailed evidence that is getting thrown at me, I'm going to play the devil's advocate and say Carole Baskin did not kill her husband.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so what we know is that a tiger can eat like up to 25 pounds of food a day. In the wild, they can eat more than 100 pounds at a time because they go through like long periods of fasting, as do most like prey, like hunting animals in the wild. I think it kind of becomes an issue though when you put in, I guess, our modern resources as far as for investigation. Case in point would be a thing that I read a while back about the man-eaters of DeSoto, which are the 2 lions depicted in The Ghost in the Darkness, which are basically back in the, I think it was early 1900s, or actually, I have it right here. Let's see. In 1898, for 9 months, 2 lions terrorized the southern Kenyan region of DeSoto, killing as many as 135 people, by the accounts there. And so there are these 2 man-eating lions. These lions actually were killed eventually by, I believe it was a engineer who was assigned to the railroad. It's kind of more glorified in the film than it was in real life, but basically he went and he found the lions and killed them. These 2 lions are actually on display in Chicago, I believe, in the museum. Yeah, in the Field Museum in Chicago, Illinois. And so, because of the accounts of like the accounts always varied between it killed like 135 people to 40 people or something like that. They actually had anthropologists. They did they took hair samples from these, and they were actually able to determine the carbon isotopes in their hair sample to figure out what they ate as far as what their normal prey would be, like zebras and giraffes. And it's from this quote from this article. It's scientists knew they could piece together the lion's diet from isotopes found in their hair and bone because of carbon-13 and carbon-12. lower carbon-13 levels. Basically, they took samples and they were able to determine that the big total of 135 was actually much higher than what they think, based on these research levels, because they found that the isotopic analysis revealed that one lion was the main man-eater with about 25 kills, while the other may still have relied on its old diet to some extent. So they got it down as far as these lions are plus 100 years old, and they were able to figure out that they ate this many people, like down to that detail level. Because of that, it just feels like there's not a way, unless there weren't enough resources and manpower put out there like you would hope there would be, for Carole Baskin to be able to hide a body that well. If you had a murder investigation next to a crocodile farm, the first thing you would do is check the damn animals in the crocodile farm, I feel like. So I believe that the first thing you would check is the tigers. I mean, for as far as capability-wise, we should be able to know, and I would like to think that we tried, but that may not be true. But that's why I have doubt, is because I just believe that, in this day and age with these many resources and technological advances, it's hard to say that, you got away with it on this, as far as they're able to figure out these 100-plus-year-old lions, how many humans they possibly ate in their entire life. So to hide it from modern investigators, I just don't think it'd be possible.
But that just means that she didn't feed them to the lions.
Tigers.
Bears.
Oh my.
She had an odd.
So it doesn't mean that
that's
she
true.
didn't kill him.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is that she fed him to the tigers. That'd be the most convenient way of doing so. And
I think what I'm getting caught up on with the carbon situation. So those were, like, basically that's carbon dating, right? Is that the same?
Essentially, that's what it seems like it would be.
Okay.
To some extent.
So, and I might totally be wrong, and correct me if I am, or we can Google it to find out. But carbon dating is, one, only accurate within a certain margin, but two, mainly, basically, like, the time of effectiveness between, like, okay, so say there's a tiger who ate an animal today. When would we be able to carbon date something, or figure out that it had eaten something? Like, would it be the next day that we could use that same technique to figure it out? Or
from my understanding, actually, it's not a carbon dating as far as it requires that much time. It's based off their hair and bone samples. So I guess it would be
I see. Okay.
So whatever chemical composition of what they're digesting, I assume. So during the lion's last 3 months, humans made up about 30% of their diet according to the isotope analysis. Combined with the size of an average human and how much a lion eats a day, the researchers estimated that over the lion's 5-month rampage, they ate about 35 people total. So
that's oddly specific. That's kind of crazy.
And that's honestly what kind of pushes me over to that side of it. Now, at the same time, I am definitely playing the devil's advocate on here. There is so much that could not go right in this investigation, obviously. It could not, the resources required to do this study and everything could be very extensive. It doesn't have a cost or a figure or anything associated with it. And not to mention that you have 2 literally preserved specimens that have been museum quality versus testing the 80. I mean, I don't even know how many tigers she would have on her property at any given point.
The tigers started rioting, so they couldn't even continue with the investigation. So.
No. So
they tear gassed all the tigers.
They kept trying to loot Target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the tigers went in there.
I'm pretty sure if tigers were looting Target, I would let them loot Target.
Yeah, I think they win that fight for sure.
First of all, I would be like, all right, whoever's playing Jumanji needs to hurry up and finish their damn game right now. But that's what I think. The only doubt that I think that is against Carole Baskin's killing her husband is that it's modern forensics.
Now, time for the part of the show where we see what's on Tyler's phone. What are you looking at, bud? What are you doing?
I'm looking up who was in charge of the murder investigation.
Oh, okay.
To see what was going on. I mean, her ex-husband had a lawyer and everything in charge of his murder investigation, so you know that he's going to get as much evidence as he can.
He seemed passionate, at least in the documentary, over it. Well,
but they can't actually just, I guess, nail it down.
Into a
and say,
conclusion,
well,
yeah.
I guess that's what you call evidence. It's like I guess there's a lot of things that point to it, but none of that really qualifies, at least in the court of law.
Alleged.
Alleged. There's a lot of allegedness going on here, and it's especially the documentary. I think you could argue is pretty polarizing as well.
And I think that's like part of, like,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the documentary. The appeal of it is that it leaves you on that edge. It always keeps that in the back of your brain, like, because it influences Carole's character, quote unquote. Like, it's a documentary, but obviously it's dramatized a little bit, and everyone plays into it. Like, it specifically Joe Exotic hams it up for the camera, right? But like, it definitely informs Carole's persona, and it kind of bolsters her. It doesn't bolster her case, but it definitely enhances her image in terms of scale, right? Like, it created a frenzy around her. Not even the fact that she's in this weird documentary, but also, did she kill her fucking husband? Like, there's a reason we're talking about it now. It's kind of like the whole no press is bad press sort of thing.
I'd have to say though, I think Carole Baskin is doing pretty fine though, off of the whole controversy. So she recently got the control of Joe Exotic Zoo. She got her Big Cat Act passed. So
right.
She kind of, as much as I guess has been, whatever she has to do with the people thinking that she actually killed her husband or not. At the end of the day, she won.
She's coming out on top.
No.
Joe's in jail. I don't know what happened to the Bhagavan guy, but he's super creepy.
No.
The cult guy with all the wives.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like a child groomer.
That's what it seems
that
like.
That was creepier, honestly, to me than any of the other stuff. Like, Joe Exotic stuff was mostly... I don't know. That's the worst part about it. I don't know how to... It's really summed up that way, though. I feel like it's like, I think a lot of it is drug-fueled. Yeah. And a lot of that, kind of lifestyle was a high risk, high reward lifestyle of drugs and big cats and
the mentality of like, who the fuck is going to stop me,
and I think and if anything, I think you take from that documentary, there's some kind of weird appeal and intoxicating effect to dealing with exotic animals.
Like that documentary guy, the guy who did the Joe Exotic TV show, even he, like, I don't even remember when in the documentary this was, but he was talking about how, despite how crazy his fucking job was, he was kind of living the dream. And that was a part of it too. Like, he was able not only to be in a space that he would never be in otherwise, or in situations you'd never be in otherwise, but he got to like hang out with tigers and be in the tiger cage and be around like animals that people don't have the privilege of being around. That is a weird component of it. That intoxication's a great word.
Yeah, I do have to go through all this shit every day, but I get to mess with tigers, and nobody else gets to do that. And that was always the other thing too. Like, they always threw in like, and nobody gets to do that. You can be hooked on anything, I guess.
Yeah, and that was a big thing with like the Bhagavan guy, where these girls that he would hire to work for him, like, they were. One, he apparently had a weird allure about him, this like weird, strange sex appeal thing,
which
that they
I
were
did
all
not
enamored with.
Understand how
at all.
But no.
At all. It felt very cultish.
I don't know. It just seems so goofy watching him riding on the elephant and everything like that. But at the same time, maybe in person you see that, maybe it just hits you different and it strikes you different, and you just kind of like. Because obviously it doesn't work for everyone, and obviously you could probably even argue that it doesn't work for most people. But maybe just in that weird percentage,
for those girls, it did.
Like I said, it hits that weird thing, and it's just like, wow, that guy is something because he's on the elephant. And maybe it's a thing that it's tied to like a childhood kind of thing, or kind of like an enamoration with the nature thing or the rare animal thing. But I don't know what it is, but it hits some kind of caveman tick in us, and we're like, whoa.
For sure. And it, like, that is objectively cool, right? Like,
if there
were if there were a humane way to take care of tigers that didn't involve, well, there is, right? Like they're in zoos and stuff. I'm not trying to say that like everyone who has tigers is a bad person, but that's a really cool thing to be a part of if it is cool and healthy and not damaging to the animals, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I would love to pet a fucking tiger, honestly.
No, right? And you can like, and that's the thing is that like you kind of knock it. I guess it's easy to knock it from like your living room, like oh, these stupid like tiger ranchers like that. But it's just like,
right.
But you know, if like 6 tiger cubs fell into your lap and you got to keep them, and there was no, like you said, like no moral like thing against it. It's like
right,
that.
and you knew that you could take care of them,
like,
and you knew that
fine.
it'd be fine, right?
Or so yeah, there's any like all the stops are gone. It's just like, oh, that's my identity now. Like I'm going to absolutely be the tiger guy now because that's a cool as fuck thing to have going.
And you don't, people don't feel that way about like people that have a lot of horses. But horses are huge, majestic things, and you feel that same way around a horse.
Well, I was thinking that, like, I was trying to think of, like, any kind of, like, established, like, animal norms. And, like, husbandry, obviously, like, with horses and stuff would be, like, a big one. So, like, the cowboy lifestyle and the thing with horses. Like, that's obviously a big appeal that's been, like, kind of developed. I mean, that's kind of, like, what I think is cool about falconry is it was just, like, you can tell it's an old school innate thing to be, like, yeah, I want to do, like, you know, it's like they talk about like, the kings would do it. It's like that, you know, because it was just like, I want to be in control of a falcon. Like, everybody wants to do that.
Like,
that's
this
cool,
is my falcon.
Like,
how cool of a sentence is that to say?
Yeah, it's awesome, right? Yeah.
I had a parakeet once.
Did you?
Heather and I had one for several years. She was awesome.
What was her name?
Amelia.
I completely forgot about Amelia.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Amelia, anyway?
Oh, she ended up dying after getting attacked by several cats. She survived that, had like a chunk taken out of her back. She survived, healed up, and then she just started getting sick one time and couldn't get better.
No, it's just what the sick. Cause I remember like she survived all that crap and stuff.
Yeah,
but
she's pretty dope. She could talk. She could say her name. That was cool, but it was that you had that same feeling of like, okay, no one else really has a bird, or it's not a common thing that you have.
Well, I think a bird's a
fly. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm gonna go with Hayden because he had a PowerPoint. But I'm gonna have like a half vote to Hayden and a half vote to Cutter. I believe that Hayden is right that she did kill her husband, but I also believe, based on Cutter's solution, that she didn't feed him to her lion or tigers. But I do think she killed him.
Or her bears.
Or her bears.
Oh my!
You know the Munchkins were some cannibalistic bastards. Like they ate people. They were way too weird.
all weird people are cannibals.
Did you see any deer in that forest?
Hey, what if Carole Baskin ate her husband? She kind of looks like a munchkin.
Carole Baskin ate her husband.
Yeah,
that's a hot take. Yeah.
The tigers fed the husband to Carole Baskin.
Here you go, my queen.
Yes.
I would like to believe Cutter and your solution, but I just can't get out from underneath her murderous gaze.
Murderous gaze.
She fucking did it.
She's got crazy eyes.
I do appreciate your approach. I feel like there's some sort of emotional bias that I have because it doesn't even matter. If you were to give me like more overwhelming evidence that she didn't do it, I would probably still believe that she did it because I'm that emotionally invested. Like I've convinced myself that she did it. So I'm gonna believe.
I can't blame you for it because after seeing Howard in that tiger outfit, I even feel like she probably did kill her husband.
Right, but I don't know. So I'll leave my vote as like a no contest.
I would like to leave my vote as a no contest as well because that's what I think. Because I think at the end of the day, let's be real. At the end of the day, what this has shown is that the court of public opinion really doesn't fucking matter. So unless we get a petition for them to dig up all the tigers that have probably like died that ate her husband, maybe to find the hair follicle samples or like that, we're never gonna know, and it's in the past, and so you can't really do anything about it. But I guess we can go with kind of the OJ model, and so if she kills Howard, though, god damn it, we're gonna get her ass, though.
I'm gonna change my vote. I'm gonna vote for myself because no one voted for me.
Okay, Tyler
She's
wins.
The prostitute killer.
Tyler wins.
You already gave away your vote like a prostitute. You split it between us.
You hoard out your answer.
You already hoard out your answer. You're walking down that Florida.
It's mine. Yeah, I picked up your answer on the side of the road in Florida.
Yeah, me and Hayden both did.
Yeah, flashed your money at me.
Took you to a Motel 4 and fucking went to town.
We couldn't afford Motel 6.
Or 8. I'm just half the price.
Motel 4, the light might be on.
So yeah, like, I'm Dave, and you're staying at Motel 4. Fuck it.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck. Yeah. Good luck.
All right, so Tyler wins. Yeah.
I think Tyler wins. I think at the end of the day, you know, if you
guys look how much I wrote. I mean,
you're solved.
Well, I was confident with it.
Hey, confidence is key. That's true.
Confidence is key. That's how Carole Baskin got away.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Overly confident. 5-minute men.
I don't know why anyone would fucking watch this show.